Now we're recording. But, so Keenan Johnston, senior, junior, senior.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
weeks. Senior,
um,
junior, junior, senior, junior.
so let's start off with the car. What are you doing? What kind of car you got? What are you doing with it? What's going on?
Alright, so it's a 1991 Mustang GT, and I kind of got bored with it, so I took a perfectly running car, parked it, and magically made it not run anymore. I pulled the motor, and we're putting in a Boss 302 block with a Scat 331 rotating assembly and 88 millimeter turbo. I'm trying to be conservative with it, and I only want to make about 650, 700 horse at the moment. I'm building it hopefully to the point where if I ever want to make more, all I have to do is turn up some boost. It's gonna run from a Terminator, and that should help out a lot.
So what is that? What's the it's a Holly Terminator or what
Yeah.
is it?
It's pretty much the peak for your computer system. I didn't want to struggle with attempting to make the stock computer work with everything that I'm putting it through. Really, it makes it easier on me because honestly, I don't really know exactly all that I'm doing. It's kind of a learn as I go process, but I'm still trying to do it as right as possible the first time.
Yeah, not build it and then blow it up or something, and then be like, oh well, we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Go back to it and do it all again.
That is one thing that I'm trying to be cautious with. I do have a lot of people helping me. I have asked around, like, when we did Street Machines,
Yeah.
just talking around everyone that knows their stuff, being like, hey, how would you go about this? What do you think about this setup that I'm building? How do I not fuck up?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's definitely a learning process, and it's going slower than I originally thought it would, but that's part of it.
How long has it been now? It's been a while.
It's coming up on a year.
Okay. Well, it's not as long as I thought it was.
No, I parked it before winter of 2022. Yeah, 21. My bad.
21, yeah.
And now we are in end of August.
Yeah.
So
it's coming up.
Yeah, it's been like 8 months.
So what all do you? Well, obviously there's no motor in it or anything. But what all do you have left to do before you start putting it back together?
I gotta save up money. I have to buy the heads I want. I want to go with some AFR 205s. Really, it's just get the biggest flowing head that I can, so I'm not restricted by it. Because I'm going to be pushing a lot of air.
Yeah.
I have the rings gap for 30 pounds. I hope I never reach that, but if I do, I don't want it to blow up when I do, you know?
Yeah. Set the standards high so that if it outperforms, then you don't mess stuff up.
Yeah. Right now, the limiting factor is my fuel system. And I do have bigger fuel injectors and a bigger fuel pump, but even it's I have 60-pound injectors, and even with those, I think the max I can probably hit with that is about 750, 800.
Yeah.
And that's pushing them.
Yeah.
And all right, so you get a bigger fuel system, then you turn up your boost, and then have at it. I'm not really worried about the rear end. I can get some C-clip eliminators, and as long as I'm not attempting to have a really aggressive launch,
Yeah.
I should be all right.
Take it to the drag strip and just.
I'll take it to the strip to see what it runs, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to blow it up. I still want it to be a weekend car.
Yeah, like not quite a daily driver, but
That's what I got the Ranger for.
a weekend driver for sure. But yeah, that's what the Ranger. Well, yeah, but then didn't you just gonna turn that into a race car or rally truck?
I do have a 2.3 liter turbo
Yeah,
with a 5-speed to put into the Ranger.
I forgot who I was talking to. I think it's Grace's brother. I was like
Bryson.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Keenan's already got the Ranger transmission for the Ranger.
He was selling that bell housing, which it was wild. I was sitting at work and I was scrolling through Marketplace and I saw that and I saw who was selling it and I was like, shit, I need to talk to Grace. I'm like, hey, tell your brother don't sell that. I want it because I want to convert the Ranger to a 5-speed and eventually turbo it.
Yeah.
And then literally like I scroll one more thing down after that and it was the turbo motor for like $600 and I was like, that's a steal. I'm gonna text the dude right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll pick it up tomorrow morning.
That's what freaking Bryce asked me yesterday. He's like, he's like, turbo or supercharger? And I was like, for what? And he's like, the Mustang. And I was like, I don't know. I was like,
honestly, it's preference.
Yeah. I was like, I like a turbo. I mean, just for, you know what I mean? But he was like, well, the supercharger is just plug and play, essentially. Yeah. And I was like, it's true, too. I was like,
superchargers, I will say, generally are easier.
Yeah.
Just because you're not really worrying about as much, theoretically. Turbos, I mean, really, it's alright. Oh, I have a really weird manifold, and now I'm getting a bunch of boost that I don't want.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not set up right, you could just end up what's the term?
The runway.
In a sense, but build a lot more boost than you're wanting, and then it's like, oh well, fuck am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah, and then you start blowing out parts, but yeah, it's weird because I don't know a lot about cars or stuff like that, but like the fact that whenever you start working on something, there's a lot of stuff. It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to change this one thing, I also have to change this and this and this and this, because like you can't. Cause if you're gonna make more power in one spot, you gotta back it up everywhere. You're just gonna blow out parts right afterwards, which seems like a lot of a hassle.
Yeah, it is. You really got to be dedicated. If you really want to, if you enjoy vehicles and you want to go quick, and you're kind of bored with what you have, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna mess with what I have. You really start to. It won't be as reliable if you cheap out on it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, it's not stock. And unless you are like trained professional, know exactly what you're doing, and even then, I mean, what's the chance that one little thing goes wrong, or say you have like a electronic wastegate and it malfunctions and you end up building 60 pounds of boost and grenade your entire motor, you know?
Yeah, it would not be good.
No.
Yeah, it's not like you have no warranty on nothing either. Once you start doing that kind of stuff, you're like, well, we're on our own now. But usually, that's like some of the cars you see, especially for around here, like with street machines, it's insane because you're like, dude, like, you look at that car, you're like, you could buy like 3 houses for that car right there. Like, like a lot of them that are driving around, you got freaking the blower motor sticking fucking 3 feet off the top of a hood, like. But it'd be freaking. Some of them are crazy.
Yeah, dude. I will say we're kind of lucky in a sense with living in DuQuoin. Yeah, DuQuoin, small town USA. It
Yeah.
is. But the events like Street Machine still being out here,
Yeah.
just literally down the road, and being able to see all these different builds that people have and all their knowledge on topics.
Yeah.
I'm
know-
grateful for it.
I know that's what Keith was talking about too. Whenever he came on, he said he's been talking to like he sat down and had lunch or something with the guys that were running Street Machines.
Yeah,
and,
at Bonner events.
yeah,
But
and everything like that, and talking about how they can make it better and stuff. We had a lot better turnout this year than we did in the past like year or two.
yeah,
And then they had a lot more entries out of the fairgrounds anyway. But there's a lot of people who don't even take their stuff out to the fairgrounds. They just park at the hotel, and then they just drive through town. Like,
I will say my car has made it. I've had it since 2016,
yeah, something like that.
and it's made it every year there was a Street Machines. Obviously, their first year of COVID, there wasn't one, and then this year I didn't make it because, it's kind of on blocks.
Yeah.
But
There's that. What car was it? Was the Mustang that was up there that was all like, it was like taken apart, but they had it on like
oh yeah,
jack stands.
that car is there every year. It's a Mustang 2,
Yeah,
I believe.
and it's so clean.
White with red stripes. Yeah, no, it
so
looks
clean.
good.
But that's wild. They just got it like on jack stands. I guess
I don't even think it's on jack stands. It's like actually on a
like a frame stand or something.
yeah,
Like
because it's
like
rotational. I
Yeah.
mean, they got that thing like kind of like sideways in a way.
yeah, like tilted.
Yeah,
That thing's crazy.
but no, I that is one thing is the Fox Body platform it's been used. So there's a lot of forums. Generally, you can go talk to a person and be like, "All right, yeah, this is probably what you want to do." However, the 331 combo with like a big turbo, I know it's probably common, but I've had a hard time really finding information on it and how they run. Really what to look out for. And all that
Yeah.
stuff. In a sense, I'm going in blind. I have my cousin Andy. He helped me put the bottom end, Andy Machino, but he helped me put the bottom end, the boss block together,
Okay.
and it looks good. We won't really know until it runs.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've tried to be very careful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's the sketchy part too, is because you do all that work, spend a shitload of money on it, and then you're like, well, we hope this runs right. Just like, all right, let's go drive it down the road. Like, but
I will say I am probably gonna attempt to run it naturally aspirated just on the engine stand.
yeah,
Just see how it's running. Because you can do that for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
just initial startup, get it worn a little bit. That is another thing, is everything is brand new parts. So even though, and I had Franklin Auto do the machine work over in Cessar. I think they did a pretty good job. But everything is snug.
yeah, like
It's brand new. It's kind of hard to crank at the moment. Just hand cranking it.
yeah, everything's so tight and it's not lubed up or nothing. It's just there.
And then honestly, when I jumped into this whole fiasco, there's a lot that I didn't take into account for. And one was the body itself. Because right before I bought the vehicle, it had just been head to toe redone by my uncle Frankie, who owned it before me. Repainted it, redone everything in the engine bay, and made it look pretty good.
Yeah,
But when we pulled that motor, I was just tapping around with a hammer trying to find any like rust spots because I know there was surface rust. And then right at the strut tower, I tapped and it was just
Fell apart.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah, it's never good.
So we had to cut that out, and then you actually
Yeah,
welded it up for me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
We welded it. It was that metal. It was so weird because the metal on the actual car wasn't that thick,
No.
but it did not want to weld. Like it did not want to go. Like it was not wanting to fuse right. But I mean, it's on there. She ain't coming off. I can tell you that right now.
No,
But she's pretty clean. She'll. Have you been out there at all, or no? Not really. I mean,
No, I haven't really had the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've been doing our thing.
yeah. So,
Uh,
but yeah, it's definitely. Oh yeah, at least you have the Ranger. You weren't like, oh yeah, we'll get this done in a couple weeks, and I'll just. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
going on a year. Like, it's not a quick project at all for sure.
No, I knew I was gonna need another vehicle,
Yeah,
and the Ranger is.
she's a machine.
It'll take me everywhere I need to go
yeah. Yeah, it's
until I decide to pull the motor out of that too.
yeah. It lasts a lot longer than the first Ranger.
That's a story.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's elaborate on that for people who don't know. So you bought a Ranger.
Okay. I don't
Ford Ranger.
even think you know the full story.
I think I've heard most of it, but I'm not for sure if it's the full story or not.
So it started with Austin and I. We were bored one day, and he's like, "I want to do something, man." And I was like, "Hey, well, we can go out to my dad's, and I can show you around the 80 acres." And it's just like wooded area, and then people have been on the property and ran four-wheelers, so there's trails and stuff. And we were just walking, and I was just showing him around. I'm like, hold on, I'm an idiot. Fuck this. Let's just go take my dad side by side if he'll allow it, and let's go riding.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's actually a good idea. So go back over there, ask my dad, and he's like, hey, you can go, be careful, transmission's slightly going out, so take it easy on it.
Jesus.
So I'm like, all right, that's fine. And I take it out there, we start going, and we did not take it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you get in a side by side, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna go, we're gonna scoot, and we're going into areas that we probably shouldn't have been when we know it wasn't really the safest ride.
Yeah.
And
For transmissions limit.
oh yeah, and I crawl over this tree that was like falling over, and it's not wanting to like fully go over it, so I back up a little bit and hammer it over it.
Jesus.
And I see a bunch of smoke behind me.
Mm.
And
That ain't never good.
I smelt it, and I was like, yep, that's burnt up. That's a bad deal. So we get out of where we are, and we couldn't go more than 5 miles an hour.
Jesus.
So we get on the side of the road. I call him. I'm like, hey, tranny went out in it.
Yeah.
You want us to drive all the way there? We can't really get faster than 5 miles an hour. He's like, no, I'll bring the trailer. I'll come get it. And I was like, all right, bet. So I park it. Or sitting on the side of the road, and I'm scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and I find this Ranger, and it looked good at 70,000 miles, 1993. Yeah, 5-speed.
Unheard of for a Ford Ranger.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little rusted.
Yeah.
I mean, it had been in the sun, you know? I mean, and
it was a Ford Ranger. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was mint.
Yeah.
So I text the dude. I'm like, hey, and he wanted $1,500 for it, maybe 16, and I was like, I'll do 1,000 right now tonight.
Yeah, like I'll be there in 10 minutes. Like,
And it was a little bit more of a drive than that.
Yeah.
It was like 25-minute drive from Christopher, and he's like, I don't know if I can do that. 1,400. I'm like 1,200. He's like, meet in the middle, 13. I was like, maybe let's see it first, and then we can haggle a little bit more. So we go in the Stang, drive down there, and he's at a Casey's, and dude was he had probably done some meth in his life. I ain't gonna lie. And
He's a little rough looking.
yeah, but he's like, transmission sloppy, but she scoots. And yeah,
ain't never the transmission's a little messed up, but she moves.
Oh no, it wasn't messed up. It was just sloppy. Third was hard to find.
Yeah.
But so we take a test drive in it. I mean, yeah, it's a 1995 Ranger. What do you?
Yeah, what do you for a little over $1,000?
It's what you expect.
Yeah.
Single cab, short bed, 5-speed manual. I was like, yeah, I want it bad.
Yeah.
So pull out. We agreed 1,300. I pull out 1,300, and I'm like, hey, you do have the title, right? And he's like, oh, story.
Oh God.
It's actually my brother's truck, but he's doing life in prison for something. So my grandma has the power of attorney papers to go get the title and all this other shit. Yeah. And I'm selling it for her. And I was like, that's kind of sketchy.
All right, we'll go get the title.
But yeah, he had I still have all the paperwork of all this dude's shit. Yeah. And literally all that had to happen, she had to sign one thing and go to the DMV and get the title. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. And then I'll go with your grandma and we can just get the title straight into my name.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, yeah, we'll do this like Monday. And it was like 2 days from then.
Yeah.
So, and I drive it. And by the way, this is the first manual vehicle I've ever driven in my life.
Jeez.
So, we ended up going to the dude's house I gave him the cash and everything. And he gave me all this paperwork. Leaving the house, I think I stalled it twice. And then we ended up going to a Casey's to fill it up, and Austin ended up driving my car.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the Stang.
I would have gave him the Ranger.
I didn't trust him.
Yeah.
Enough to,
it's like, you can have the Mustang, but I don't trust you this.
I didn't want him to grenade the trans.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hell, I didn't do any better.
Yeah.
But, so I probably stalled it 6 times on the way home.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was
That's
bad.
funny.
But we make it, and immediately I go to B. Ferg's house, Blake's.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, you need to see this Ranger I just bought. And mind you, I don't have it in my name yet. It's not insured.
Yeah, nothing.
None of this shit. Tags are even expired on it, I think. And so he's like, you're gonna have to let me drive it. And I was like, fuck it, dude,
Blake
come
can't
on.
drive a stick shift for nothing either.
Well, that's the thing. We immediately take it down.
Wells?
No, not well. You turn right. It's kind of like Main Street, but going all the way to Pinckneyville. Like you turn off his road.
Oh,
and then you turn right.
Oh,
to
it's
Pinckneyville.
like yeah, I mean, it's Main Street.
Yeah.
I don't know what highway it turns into, but yeah, Main Street.
And he's giving her hell on this road. I'm talking, it only went to 85, the speedometer did.
Jeez.
And he had it at 85. Yeah, it took 2 minutes to get there, but
yeah.
It was definitely a night. And I'm just here having a blast. And then we come back, and Kaylee was there, and I don't remember who all was there, but they're like, oh yeah, we gotta go on a drive in it. And I was like, fuck it, dude, yeah, everyone can drive this thing. It's a $1,300 Ranger.
Yeah. Non-insured, no
Hey,
tags.
no. So Blake is driving, Kaylee middle seat, and I think Austin in the passenger seat, and I hop in the bed,
Oh God.
and it was cold.
Yeah.
And so they're giving her hell. I'm in the bed. We ended up passing. It was like a 2020 Silverado, and he's just chilling at probably like 70, and it's the slowest pass I've ever had in my life.
Just like slightly, you like lock
Yeah.
eyes with him for a solid minute while you're passing him.
Yeah, I'm looking in the bed, and he's just looking at me for a second. I'm like, trying not to laugh.
Yeah, like, are we ever gonna get by him, or
Yeah.
are we just gonna sit here next to him?
It was hilarious. So that night happens. I ended up going to the house. I'm like, yeah, I'll go to bed for the night. And then tomorrow, I didn't have work. I was like, yeah, let's just have some fun. So the next day, mind you, I bought the Ranger at like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 by the time I actually like got home. And I was talking to Seth Betts, and he had that F-150, the inline six, and he was like, "Hey, you won't race me?" And I was like, "I will."
Yeah, I will race you. Like,
So-
if I win or not, possible, but no.
I mean, I was like, "Well, I probably got like 1,500 pounds on you,
Yeah.
but you also probably have like 100 horsepower on me. So let's see what happens."
Yeah.
And I take the spare tires out of the bed and put them in front of the garage at Blake's. Drop tailgate, you already know.
Yeah. Aerodynamic as shit, Ford Ranger.
Yeah. Roll up crank windows, and literally we go up to Cookie Cutter, and we had I think Carrie flagged us off.
Jeez.
I lost.
Yeah.
I mean, only time I've shifted it perfect,
and
and it did not matter.
yeah.
But we go back to the garage. Obviously, I did not put the spare tires back in.
No, there's no need.
Couldn't. No, we just talked for a little bit, had our fun, and then Brent said he wanted to drive it. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's fucking take it around the block." So he's doing burnouts in it,
Yeah.
roasting clutch, you already know. And then I let Jake drive it and Seth drive. I mean,
Everybody.
everyone.
Damn.
So gets to around 5 to 6 p.m. Bryce says, "Let me drive it." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, we can cruise around town." And he's like, "Oh, I'll even pay for gas money." I'm like, "Bet."
Yeah. Yeah.
We go to Sonic, we get some food. I was like, "Yeah, I'm hungry." And then we just start driving around town. Then we end up going to like Pinckneyville back roads, and we get to around like Pyramid.
Yeah.
And by this point, it's probably like 9 p.m. maybe. And about the time I bought the Ranger the day before.
Yeah.
And we're just cruising. He's having the blast. I mean, giving her hell. Well, we hit a raccoon. And like we were he was trying to hit this raccoon. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, like,
It was a chunk raccoon. He was like, "I got a big one," and I recorded it, and it's a behemoth of a raccoon. He throws it in the bed, and I don't even realize where we were at that point because I don't really know Pinckneyville backroads that well.
yeah.
So we're going. I see Raccoon Road. I'm like, "You're fucking kidding me, Raccoon Road? Yeah, we gotta take that bitch.
Yeah.
We got a dead raccoon in the pack." And so we take Raccoon Road, and then we go back on to, and I was like, "Dude, this raccoon is stinking up
Yeah.
the fucking Ranger." He's like, "Yeah, I can throw it out." So we throw it out. Then eventually we head back to Mountain Line, which was the first road that we took there. And the thing that you need to realize about Mountain Line is that it's, I think, 9 miles of straightaway into literally a J turn.
Yeah. So Forever lives in infamy.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of big trees and then lake behind it. I didn't know that at the time.
This is right at the J turn.
Yeah.
It is just
There's no sign.
Straight away, no sign, trees, lake.
We're listening to music. We're probably going about like 50, 55, just cruising in fourth gear. And I'm on my phone. Bryce is chilling. He's just cruising, looking straight. I look up. I'm like, Bryce, tree. And then I think he was like zoned out or something because neither of us saw the tree until we were about 20 feet in front of it.
Jeez.
And he's like, fuck. And he tries to make the turn, knew we weren't going to make it, so it ends up going back to straight. And I just watch us ramp, and he did attempt to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So I think we were going around like 45 when we hit it. But eyes wide open, I'm watching it, and we just ramp up this fucking tree and land on our side.
Jeez.
And luckily, we both had our seatbelt on.
Yeah, the first time
ever
wearing a seatbelt and smoke a tree.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys ramped it like you did, too. And it just didn't, like, yeah, I mean, like, you guys... it just crinkled the truck. I mean, the truck just... But it I guess that worked out because it crinkled the truck and then just sent it up and on its side. It didn't just, like, hit it and stop the truck, you know what I mean?
Thing is, then we had to climb out of my side, out of my window. And I get off, land straight in poison ivy.
Nice.
Yeah, I was wearing shorts.
Jeez.
But I didn't really get hurt.
Did you slam your arm in the door or something?
No, my arm got caught in my seatbelt when I was trying to get out. So then I was like dangling in air by my arm.
Jeez.
But, I mean, I had a bruise, that was all. Bryce was perfectly fine. Walked away unscathed.
Yeah.
Probably has CTE, doesn't realize it.
Yeah, it's insane. You guys smoked that tree.
Literally, we're jumping out, vehicle approaching. And I was like, who the fuck is this? And some dude's like, yeah, I thought someone hit this tree. It sounded like a gunshot a mile out. And I was like, fucking hell. Like, I'm still, like, kind of not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, not really believing it. And Bryce is just like, Keenan, I'm sorry. I wrecked your Ranger. Don't know how I'm going to make it back. I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're all right. That's what mattered.
It's wild.
Like, yeah, 1,300 down the drain, but we're okay.
Yeah,
I'd take that.
Somehow, hell, you guys managed to go 45 miles an hour into a tree and flip and be perfectly fine.
So, then, dude's like, hey, you got anything that you need to throw out before the cops get here? Because I already called them. And I was like, no. We
had a raccoon, but
yeah. No, we're dead sober. We don't have anything on us. I mean, that's probably want to grab my phone charger, but
yeah, that's funny that he freaking asked you though.
He was
you need anything?
He was a chill dude. He stayed with us until the cops got there, made sure we were all right.
That's dope. Somebody came get you guys or what?
Crash detection went off on Life 360 because we're all in the Life 360 together. So you get Jake, Reese, Brent. I don't remember who all was there, honestly.
They all show up?
Flying. Excuse me. Just flying to where we were. And they show up before the cops did.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, Life 360 is the shit. Like,
well, Bryce was when we were in the truck. I didn't have connection.
Yeah.
Bryce did. So he's looking at his phone. He's like, crash detection. Crash detected. You have 30 seconds, or like, do you want the authorities called? Or if you don't respond, it like automatically calls them.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, so. And it was a shit show, but I think it was Perry County Sheriff got there, and He's or maybe deputy. I don't really remember
Yeah.
the full detail, but then it was like, all right, is this your vehicle and all this shit. I'm like, story for you.
Yeah, technically, yes. Technically, though, no.
In total, I either didn't have it for 24 hours or I barely had it for 24 hours.
Yeah, like,
Totally worth it.
yeah, that's... And then turned around and got another one. But,
Yeah, I had I had to.
yeah, that's wild. That's what everybody be like, oh, there's a guy at work. It was in Texas. It was like right after that happened.
Yeah.
And he crashed his truck. He's like, man, I didn't even have that truck for a year. And I was like, my buddy's back home just had a truck for a day.
Yeah.
And they totaled it. I was like,
Oh yeah, no, it's indrivable.
yeah, that's...
However, then the tow truck driver got there, and because it needed to get towed, it needed to get out of the tree.
Yeah.
And he's talking to me, and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'll tow it wherever you want, but if you do this and don't get your payment, then I'm gonna have to like take it and get the title and all that shit." And I'm like, well, I'm gonna, how much is it? And he's like, 300. And since I was haggling with the dude the day before, I brought 1,600 because that's what he was asking. And
Yeah.
since I got him down to 1,300, I had 300 extra on me. And I was like, I'll make it easy on you. 300 right now. Take it to my brother's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's the easiest payment I've ever gotten.
Yeah, that's for real.
And me and him, actually, he gave me a ride to my brother's. Because,
Did you ride with them when you
Yeah.
towed it? Yeah.
And we actually cut up a little bit. But that was a wild night.
Yeah.
I remember I got out of the truck, immediately got on my phone, called the dude. And yeah, it was like 11 o'clock at night at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, don't even tell your grandma she don't even got to worry about going to the DMV tomorrow. I just wrecked it. Hung up.
Just didn't even wait for him to respond. So just tell her don't even worry about it. It's no big deal. Click.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was spur of the moment. I was like, yeah, that fucking happened.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy.
So there's the story of Ranger V1.
Yeah, that's so wild. I don't understand.
And I mean,
it's
I
unheard of too. Like yeah, we had it for a day.
I did learn my lesson. I mean, I don't let people really drive my vehicles anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I know the Mustang. No one will ever get behind the wheel.
Yeah,
Probably besides me.
yeah. It's just like me and my bike. Everybody's
Yeah.
always like, "Hey, can I ride the bike?" I'm like,
No.
"No, no, you cannot." Like this thing goes 140 mile an hour.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you on it because first of all, I don't know if you know how to ride a bike. Even if you say, yeah, you know what I mean, or like people that ride dirt bikes crack me up.
It's entirely different.
Like, bro, I've been riding dirt bikes all my life. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I can ride wheelies on my Rocket and shit all day. I was like, but I can't do shit on a dirt bike because it feels completely different.
Yeah.
Like, I rode Anthony Crane's dirt bike that one time. We went out to the Resi and rode like a while back. It was when I first got my bike.
Yeah.
And I got on his dirt bike and I was like, what the shit? I was like, this is weird. Because your knees are almost touching because the seat's so skinny. I mean, the dirt bike's so skinny. And my bike, you're sitting out. Like, but yeah, it's so weird to ride. I was like, this is crazy. I figured I was just going to jump on it and just ride a wheelie down the road. But I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that on this thing. Like,
I'll be real. I haven't been on. I've never ridden a bike. I used to ride a dirt bike. It was a little KTM that my brother got me when I was in like 4th grade.
yeah, like
And-
a little tiny one.
Yeah, I broke my elbow on it because my jean got caught in the chain,
Oh my!
and I was
gosh.
trying to turn, and I was going slow,
Yeah.
and I was like, damn, that's shitty. And I'm looking down. I'm like, well, I got to make this turn or else I'm going into a cornfield. And it's just slowly I teeter over and over and over. And I try and catch myself. And yeah, broke my elbow.
Jeez. Yeah, I've wrecked twice on my bike. And once I was going like 10 miles an hour, and the road was like a Y, and I was like, I couldn't remember which way I was going. I was in Texas, so I was like, oh, do I go right or left?
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I go right, and I was like, oh no, okay, I don't know if I seen something, like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh no, I remember going that way. So I go to turn left, and as soon as I do, there's like a basketball size like thing of gravel, like just like a little spot.
Took you out.
And my front tire was right on it.
Yeah,
so
that's unfortunate.
As soon as I went to lean and turn, I just smacked the ground. Like, and it was like, it felt like I hit the ground so hard for going that. So, because it was just like, because the whole bike just like slid out from under me. So I was just like, whap, right on the ground. I was like, God dang. And obviously, my dumbass was wearing a cutoff. So, like,
cut you up pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I had road rash. Like, I was not going fast at all. Like, I couldn't imagine wrecking at like 100 mile an hour or something. And people just slide on their back, and you know what I mean?
No, that's when you need skin grafts.
Yeah, like, because I had road rash all on my arm, all on my leg, my hip, on my back. I was like, how in the heck?
Were you wearing a helmet or no?
Yeah, I was wearing a helmet,
Yeah.
so it messed my helmet up pretty good too. I mean, it scraped like 10 layers. You could you see on the helmet on like the back, because I kind of hit like the back corner of my head, I guess you'd say, but it's straight. You can see the layers in the helmet.
You had a new helmet after? Or no?
Oh yeah, I got a new one, but you could see the layers. It is like a little, a little circle.
That's
where
wicked.
a head hit, but you see all the layers down to where it stopped scraping, I guess. But there was a guy whenever my bike, because my bike went over on its side, right, and then but it was just pinned. Like, it's like, and I was like, fuck, I was like, I'm like trying to get up. I was like, what the shit? Then this guy comes running across the road. He's like, are you all right? He's like trying to help me up. I'm like, fuck. I was like, go get the bike. I was like, the bike's gonna blow up. I was like, go get the bike. I was like, I'm fine. And I was like, yeah, I don't understand. Like,
I mean, he was doing the right thing.
He was doing the right thing coming to get me. But I was like, dude, I am perfectly fine. I was like, go get the bike.
Little road rash, maybe a concussion, but at the end of the day, I'm walking home.
Yeah, I didn't even hit, I hit the ground pretty hard, but I didn't. I mean, I had my helmet on and stuff. It wasn't too bad. Work sucked the next week because I couldn't wear. I was climbing, so I had to climb and build one farm. So I had to wear a harness. And there was no putting a harness on. I had road rash on my back. There was no putting a harness on. So I had to be a ground guy for a couple days. And then the other one I wrecked, that was the first time I wrecked. And the second time was there was like an on-ramp to the interstate. And it was like a four-way. And then one of the roads went to the on-ramp. And it was like a curve to the left onto the interstate. Well, I was coming up that curve. It's like a 30-mile-an-hour ramp, so we're not going 30, 35. And I'm like just barely kind of leaning, you know what I mean? Just a little bit turning.
Yeah.
And I noticed, like, I'm looking down, and I noticed my bike is just like, I'm just like sliding to the right. Like, my entire bike it's just standing straight up, like, pretty much, like, except for the little bit I'm leaning, but the whole thing's just kind of sliding to the right. And it was like a nice-ass road, because they got really nice roads, but it's so dusty. So, like, it's a slick, nice road with dust on top of it. So, like,
you don't see it.
Yeah, you don't see nothing. So, but I'm just, like, sliding, and I'm like, what the heck? So, like, I, like, went to, like, kind of stand it back up, and then, to get traction, and then go to turn again. But by the time I stood it back up, I was already, like, at the hill, because it was going uphill. So I was at the curb, or not curb, but like the shoulder.
Yeah.
There's like essentially no shoulder. There was like a foot maybe, and I was already at the line on the shoulder. And I was like, oh shit. And there was a hill. It was just a grass hill that went down. And I was like, okay, do I lay it over on the side right here and try to not slide down the hill? Or do I just try to ride it down the hill? And I was like,
that's sketchy.
And I was like, because I just replaced the plastic on that side from when I wrecked. I was like, I'm not putting it over on its side on this freaking concrete. I was like, I'm gonna ride it down this hill. So it was like a 15-foot, 20-foot hill. You know what I mean?
Just how steep? Down.
Well, it wasn't that steep. It wasn't too bad. But I was like, I essentially could rode down it. But I was like, okay, so at this point, like, I've already hit the brake, and, like, so I'm going pretty slow when I start going down this hill. And So I'm like going down this hill. I'm trying not to hit my brakes or nothing. So I'm on grass on a crotch rocket. So like if I touch my brake or anything, I'm just gonna slide out. It's gonna slide out from under me. And I'm rolling down this hill, and I'm like, okay, this is going. I'm like thinking this is going like way better than I thought it was gonna go. It's like, and then I look down in front of me. I'm like watching in front of me, and there's a road that's down at the bottom. And it's like there's nobody on this road, but I look at the road, and there's like a almost a foot like gap between where the road starts and the ground it starts.
Oh.
So like it's like raised, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, I'm gonna hit this and just go over my handlebars. So I was like, I'm just gonna flip forward. So I was like, oh crap! I was like, okay. So I just lay it down in the grass, like easy as possible.
Yeah.
I just kind of like put my foot down and just lay it down in the grass, and I was like, okay. And I was on my way to go get like riding gear, and because I ordered riding gear and shit, and
Yeah.
I was on my way to go get that. So. I had a leather jacket on. The grass tore my leather jacket to shit. Like
That's wicked.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, and then it still messed up my plastics. And then, or it was the opposite side plastics that I just replaced. And then there's a guy that lived right there at the bottom of that hill across the road, and I get up and he's like, yeah, he's like. He's just there, like sitting on the front porch, and
He
he's
just
like,
watched
he's
you go down
he's
the
like,
hill.
I got cars come off that all the time. He's like, you look at my back fence, and he's got like just a real basic like back like metal fence.
Yeah.
And there's just like parts of it, like there's like sections that are standing and then sections that are just taken out. And I guess he's like, yeah, we'll just be sitting in the backyard or on the back porch, and it was somebody who's come down flying off the fucking thing and just come right into my backyard. And I'm like,
That's
I told
wicked.
him, I was like, I would probably move. If I was you. Like, I was like, somebody's gonna come through the side of your house. I was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was.
I mean, that's a good insurance claim.
yeah,
But
yeah, like, but so I get the bike was fine except for like it messed up the plastics.
Yeah.
But I get up, I go to where I was going, and then I tell him, I walk in, and I was like, hey, I need all the plastics I just ordered, but on the other side. And he was like, okay, and I bought my riding gear and shit. But yeah, wasn't very happy when I had to spend all the money again. But.
No. That is unfortunate, but I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah, for sure. What time we got? 4:14. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Unless you just want to take a break, we come back because I gotta go to the bathroom bad.
We can take a break.
All right, let's take a break then. All right, and we're back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, motorcycle wrecks suck. Don't buy Rangers and crash them. But
I mean, this one's lasted me
yeah,
a while.
yeah,
Hopefully a lot longer.
yeah.
Honestly, I think the Ranger's gonna be I'll classify it a toy. Excuse me. Pizza's getting to me.
Yeah.
Really, I'm scared to say it, but I think I'll have more fun in the Ranger when it's
Yeah,
done.
that's what we were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Like, plus, just because you won't have to worry about, I mean, really messing that one up like you will the Mustang.
No, that is one thing, is that say I do end up like throwing the side of it into a tree, like sliding it or
Yeah.
something, because I do want to have fun in it. I'm putting a 5-speed in it. I want that 2.3 to make around like 250,
Yeah.
maybe 300, which isn't hard. I have everything to put it in. I have the wiring harness, computer for it, and I ended up trading the block that came out of the Mustang for the transmission, the bell housing, all that wiring and stuff, and then I paid him $600 for the motor.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good deal. The motor looks clean. I haven't really been through it. However, yeah, if I slide it into a tree or something, you know how many fucking Rangers there are on Marketplace that are just like, oh, part out.
Yeah.
Text me what you want and we'll work on a price. I mean,
yeah. Like, here's a bed for $50.
Yeah. Oh, can I have a passenger side door for like $75? Oh, a front end or a hood. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, or any like pick apart place ever.
Yeah. That body style was made. Everything was the same from, I believe, 1993 to 97,
I'm not for sure. I have no idea.
something like that.
Yeah, but a pretty long time, and there's a lot of them made and sold.
Yeah.
like enough that you don't have to worry about finding something to replace it at all.
Yeah. And truly, I'll probably drive the wheels off that thing
Yeah.
for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can.
Yeah, there's no reason shouldn't, unless it just rusts out and falls apart. But that's
At
always
that point,
that's always a possibility.
buy
So,
another old Ranger
Yeah.
and then move the
move the motor and trans to the next one.
or literally, all right, pull the body off the frame and then put a new body on the frame.
Yeah.
But
That's like, we now can say we have a car lift to use though for
if,
short periods of time.
if Benji is generous enough.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because he was like, yeah, if you guys need to like, change oil or do anything, really,
Yeah.
he's like, just come use the car lift. And I was like, that's wild. I don't think my truck will go in between it, because I've done it. I've driven in it, like a pull in between it, but
Probably wouldn't go all the way up.
no, like,
I mean, you could
I
probably
don't
get the
know how.
cab up and then get the bed close, and then that'll still give you plenty of room.
yeah, but like, I don't know how high I'll be able to go with it. Blake's truck's definitely not going in
Hell
that
no.
garage at all, period. And then Austin's truck's not going in that garage, period.
Well, they're wanting to
Aiden's-
lower theirs.
Aiden's truck,
Maybe.
it'd be really close, because I don't know how much wider his truck is than mine. Like, I think it's a little bit wider. It's that
Maybe.
Ford, like, more square built body, I feel.
I don't want a big vehicle,
Yeah,
honestly.
I like my truck.
I-
I'd like a little, like, 6-inch lift to my truck.
Yeah.
New rims and tires. But
I want to lower the Ranger.
lower it onto the ground.
No.
Wide body it.
I do want to wide body it.
That'd be nuts.
If I could, like, make it look... let's be real. It's a 95 Ranger.
Yeah.
They don't look good. It's the shit green. I mean...
like, it is like the worst color they made. Like,
But there's so many of them.
yeah.
And, dude, I'm talking... If you find any of that body style Ranger and, like, actually look, most of what you see is that color.
Yeah, is the green. Yeah.
It does not look good at all.
No.
But,
Everybody's like, oh, that's really cheap and they last forever. So, yeah, screw it. We'll deal with the green. Like,
I mean, I bought that one for $600.
yeah, that's wild. That's absolutely wild.
$600. AC blows cold, heat blows hot when it gets up to temp.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I snapped the shift column, but hell, I've been driving by the
Yeah, you don't
shift
even-
cable for the past 4 months.
yeah, he's just pulling the cable. I think that's wild.
I mean, no one's gonna steal it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Nobody's gonna be able to be like, they're gonna get, if somebody tried to steal it, they'd get in and be like, what the
They'll
shit?
be like, keys in it.
Yeah.
Crank it over, go to shift it into reverse, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, how do you get this to drive?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's wild.
But
There's a... the way you shift that thing's hilarious. Just like, just pull the cable and
Yeah.
go. But, yeah, there's a... It's definitely a rig. That's for sure.
it's mint.
I'm gonna get the tags for the green machine.
I'm waiting on it.
Oh my gosh, it'll be so fun. I would love to swap
Like a 12
that
valve
truck.
in it.
Oh god, could
Yeah.
you imagine?
It'd be mean.
It's literally,
Is it a single
It's
cab
a-
or extended cab?
it's a single cab.
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a single cab short bed. Weighs nothing. Oh god, it'd burn the tires off. Like, I wouldn't be able to keep tires on it.
I mean, you got some meats on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got some like 10-ply decent tires on it right now.
They'd last for a little bit
Yeah.
until you decided, all right, yeah, I'm gonna roast them off.
Yeah, because like if I
Well,
was to do a burnout in that thing, it would just peel the tires off the back end if I swapped it.
I'll tell you one thing: the Ranger surprised me during. I took the Ranger out to the campgrounds during Street Machines. Took it.
Oh
out.
yeah, to the pavilion.
Yeah, and they're like, "Do a burnout." I'm like, "I don't know if it will, man. That thing, it's got 97 horsepower. 97.
My bike might have that much horsepower.
Yeah. So I go in there and they wet down the tires. The pavement's already wet, and I start going, and I'm literally left foot on the brake as far as like to the metal, throttle pinned, and you just hear, and I'm talking, it's not going. And I'm like, I'm going to need some people to lift the rear end if I'm going to want to do it. I tried to brake boost it. Nope, not happening. I get a few people to lift the rear end. And, I mean, it don't take a lot of people to lift it. No, like, we had 2 people just to even it out.
Yeah.
So one person isn't struggling. Because one person can lift it up.
Yeah.
But we get 2 people and I'm going. I'm talking off rev limiter. And it sounds like a 2.3 Ranger.
Yeah.
And it's loud.
Yeah, it is decently loud for what it is.
Yeah, and I start seeing smoke, and I'm like, all right, yeah, we're going.
Yeah.
And I probably held a burnout for a solid minute, and one wheel peeled.
Yeah, yeah, that's how the Green Machine is. She ain't about no trilogy track allowed.
Smoked out this entire pavilion bad.
Yeah.
And it still is mint. The tire even looks fine. Like, I haven't changed that tire at all. The tread's still good. I'm like...
Because there was no weight down on it. It was just, like,
Well, then-
barely just smoking the top.
The people that were behind it, they kind of got smoked out and had to drop it after about
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
But, no, that was wild. And it blew my expectations out of the water for it.
Oh, yeah. How much horsepower did you say it had? What was the top horsepower?
I think 97.
CBR 650S has 85.
Hey, well, don't worry. If you turn the AC on, it only makes like 92.
Yeah, yeah. But it lopes.
Well, no, that's because the spark plugs probably need change on.
Yeah, but he's like, it's almost like a lobe switch. You just freaking turn the AC on full blast.
The TikTok we saw,
oh yeah,
people putting a windshield wiper motor,
yeah, on
with
the
a string to their throttle cable.
Yeah, he's like rope,
Yeah.
rope.
That's wild.
That's
Ignorant but wild.
yeah. But you'd be like, oh my god, like if it rolled up, or if they turned it on and it was like, row. I think I might have to do that with the Green Machine.
No.
I think I'm gonna have to. It's got the freaking. Oh no, they fixed the exhaust on it. So whenever it broke down, and my dad had
it
up there,
had duals.
Yeah, it had duals. Barely
Glass packs.
Yeah. It had an
It was loud.
8-inch cherry bomb on it, which is stupid loud. And then there for the longest time, it didn't even have, like, the duals weren't connected. So it was like the duals were there. It looked like they were connected, but at where the glass pack was, it wasn't put together. So it was like it was just the glass pack on the end of the pipe, like under the cab. It was just loud as shit. Somebody tried to steal my cherry bomb, though, when I went through Iowa. Yeah. It came outside, and there was Sawzall, like a half a Sawzall mark through my freaking... Because I was like, I think I had an exhaust leak. Because at that time, it was put together.
Yeah.
Like, mint. And,
You're like, damn, it kind of sounds like shit.
yeah, I was like, what the shit? And I was
down
like, this
there.
is louder, right? Because it had, like, a decent Sawzall, and it was, like, kind of split.
Yeah.
Like, where they cut half of it and tried to, like, pull it out. And, but, yeah, it was worthless. I don't know if they're, like, trying to steal my cats or what, but they tried to take the glass back.
I don't know. People are ignorant.
Yeah, but there's definitely Sawzall mark through my
That's wild.
glass back, and I was like, so eventually I was just like, yeah, screw the duals. We'll just leave the glass pack on the end right there and choose clock
Does it
box
still
for
have
sure.
the glass pack on the one?
No, I don't think it has one. I'm pretty sure it has a muffler on there of some sort because it's pretty freaking quiet.
Yeah.
The one time I have drove it, but it does have 2018 tags on it.
So I know you kind of interview people. Now, do you want to tell the story about how you got the gray machine back?
Oh, so okay, yeah. So on the Jesus. So I was in. So this. Okay, first off, I've had it all through high school. Okay,
Yeah.
Dodge, fucking 1500 single cab short bed.
V6 5.
V6 5-speed. This thing has made it through just about everything. All through high school.
And you know high school, you hoon the shit out of your
Dude,
vehicles.
I didn't find out it could do a burnout until Nathan Gates was like, oh, it'll do a burnout. And he got in it and did a burnout. I was like, okay, just a little one. And he smoked out Taco Bell. Burnt the tire off. It just covered Taco Bell in a smoke cloud. Because we were right there behind Taco Bell at the parking lot. And
Was this during Street Machines?
no, this is just like a random day.
Just random middle of the day.
Random night after school or something. I'm pretty sure we saw sitting up at the lot. So then I'm like, okay, so it makes it all through high school, and then I go to work on the wind farm. I drive to North Dakota, so it makes it I'm pretty sure it's like 16 hours to North Dakota, and it makes it all the way to North Dakota and back like 2 or 3 times. So I didn't think it was gonna make North Dakota in the first place. Now on the way to North Dakota, it hated the hills. It was not going right. It was already on its last leg, and like I'd be driving and you'd come down this hill, I'd be hauling ass, just pin it. Fifth gear didn't work. Like it worked, but it like you were not accelerating in fifth gear. It didn't matter what you were doing. Like it was, most of the time you actually you'd start slowing down if you were in fifth gear. Like it just wouldn't go. so you have to leave it in 4 gear and just
rev it out.
Yeah, just run the balls off of it. So I'm driving on the interstate and we're going down. I'm going down like this fucking mountain. And so I'm like, screw it. I put it in fifth gear and just hold it to the floor. So I'm getting as much speed as I can. I'm like passing people going downhill. Every single person I passed, semis and everything, every single person I passed going downhill blew my doors off when I was going back uphill because I'd be in like third gear trying to get up this hill and I'm barely moving. Like it's
struggle.
It's on the interstate and I'm like, fuck, I get it on the shoulder because it is not one to go. But yeah, I made that drive like 2 or 3 times. But then, not only did it make it there, and from work and back every day in North Dakota, and that was like a 45-minute to an hour drive.
Yeah.
So, it did that, and then I got a call from my brother. He's working in Texas, doing the same stuff, and he's like, hey, I got like 2 more spots in Texas. Do you want one? And I was like, yes, because it was right before winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So actually 2 days after I left North Dakota, they had like a blizzard, and everybody was snowed in their motels, and like nobody could get out of their motels.
You're not working. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, nobody was doing nothing. So
you're stuck.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I got out at a good time.
Yeah, you lucked out.
Well, so I drive from Bismarck, North Dakota to Rio Grande City, to McAllen, Texas.
In the Green Machine?
In the Green Machine.
That's wicked.
One shot. Like, just one go. And,
no brakes, no...
Well, I mean, I gotta get fuel and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I drive down there, pile of energy drinks in the passenger seat. Probably should have stopped and slept because I was definitely like falling asleep and all kinds of shit, but I was going. Right?
Yeah, you made it.
The first like 10 hours, or not 10 hours, but like 20 hours were good. It was a 1 day and 30-minute trip is what my GPS said when I started.
That's wild.
Like they don't even have no hours. It was just 1 day and 30 minutes. But so I started driving, and I mean I'm driving, and it got okay gas mileage, but it wasn't like super great. Well, for anybody who ever drove through Kansas knows that whenever you're driving through Kansas, you have to like strategically plan on where you're going to get fuel. Because if you pass the gas station, that might be the last gas station for like 100 miles.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, okay. So I'm like looking at this GPS the whole time. I'm like, okay, I have to stop here. And that was the first time probably the only time I've ever used like, you know how you can set stops on the way on your trip on GPS. I had like stops set all the way through my trip on where I was going to get fuel, because I was like, if I don't set them now, I was like, I'm going to miss them, and then I'll be screwed.
Yeah, you're
I'll
fucked.
be in the middle of Kansas out of fuel. So, because I was by myself. So, and
Yeah, who are you calling?
Yeah, mind you, this had no cruise control. The green machine has no cruise control. So, my calf felt like it was just, and I actually, I don't know what I stuck. Because on the interstate, I was pretty much just pinned the whole time. Like, I just had the truck just pinned to the floor.
Yeah.
So I took something, because I had like everything I owned in my truck, which wasn't an extreme amount of stuff. But I took something and just threw it in the floorboard and just threw it on a pedal. Like, I was like, it was hauling balls the whole time. I think I ended up getting like a stick or some kind of rod for something or something. And I like put it in the floor on the pedal, like on the seat and then on the pedal, to where I was just holding the pedal down, and like if I need to stop or something, I just pull the rod out.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, and so I made it all the way down there. Finally, start work, everything. It lasts me quite a while. I was there for a little while, couple months. Well, a couple months in, I have an hour drive to work, so I'm driving, and it's actually on the way home from work. And I make it into Edinburgh, Texas, and it just, like, it just shuts off. Like, it just dies. Like, it's done. All right?
Gave up.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So, luckily, there's an exit right there. So, I just, like, coast, because I'm, going, like, 65.
Yeah.
So, I just coast. It's in neutral and stick shift. It just goes forever. So
Yeah.
I roll off the interstate, down the thing. It's a red light. I'm like, screw that. And I just honked the horn a couple times and bust a right. There's a park. So I pull into the park and park in a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, I was thinking, okay, well, if we can't get it running right now, I was like, I'll just leave it here overnight. Because, like, I'll park here. People used to leave cars there for months. So I was like, okay, I'll just leave it here for a night. Well, apparently there, it's no parking
Oh, word.
at night. Yeah, so... But I can't get it running, don't know what's going on, freaking out, right? Because I have an hour drive to work and no vehicle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, so...
Did it even crank?
Yeah, it would crank and just do, but nothing, like, at all. So I was like, okay. So
Yeah,
I was
there
like,
could have been a couple things.
Yeah, so, well, turns out the gas station I've been getting fuel at for, like, the last while...
Shit gas.
Yeah. So they had a problem at the day, because they have done like 4 jobs in that same location, like right next to each other. Well, they were getting their fuel for the job site at that gas station, and it turned out they had like really shitty gas, so they stopped using that gas station. Well, I was going to that gas station every morning to get fuel.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, it just, because I ran it down too low, like I let my fuel get down to like almost empty, so it just sucked everything out of the bottom of my tank. And just clogged up everything.
Yeah.
And so then, so I leave it there overnight. Kyle Max comes, picks me up. And then my sister and him give me a ride to work for like a day or something that next day. I come back. I'm like, yeah, just take me to my truck. And then if I can't get it working, then I'll just call a tow truck.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Or no, I called the tow truck on my way there. And so I get there. Truck's gone. There's no truck. So I'm like, what the shit? You know what I mean? I'm like, somebody stole my truck. I was like, first of all, I don't know how the hell they stole my truck when it wasn't running.
Yeah.
I was like, second of all...
Master mechanic
Yeah, I was
showed
like,
up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was like, second of all, that's shitty, okay?
Yeah.
And then, so now I'm freaking out, right? I'm like, fuck, my truck's gone. I was like, well, maybe it got towed. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, but it probably did get towed. We're at a park. So, I call, like, 2 tow yards. They say they don't have it. And then I called the like city police, and they said they don't have any record of towing anything that night.
That's wild.
And then I called the county. They have no record of towing it that night. Nobody knows anything about my truck. So I put out a freaking police report, a stolen vehicle report, okay, through the police station.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, I need a truck, right? So I go through. I'm like looking for places, because down in Texas, especially like right there on the border, there's places like the what do you call that?
Dealership, used car lots.
In-home financing places. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's all about just like put this much down and you can have it. And, you know what I mean? Like, you don't use a bank. You just go straight through them. And so I was like looking because I was like, I need a vehicle, right? I almost bought this Ford 6.0 Turbo diesel. I'm so happy I didn't. But I was like, all right. I was like, I almost bought it, and I only wanted like 14.5 for it or something like that. I was
Ain't
like,
bad.
okay. I was like, I had some money saved up. I was like, I can put a decent payment down on this and pay on it for a couple months and just pay it off.
Yeah.
But so I did that, or I was like, I don't know. So I was about to get that one, and I talked to my dad, and he's like, well, maybe you can just have my truck, because he has a company truck all the time. So he had the truck sitting in the house, the Chevy, the black Chevy.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And then he was like, but let me think about it, because he wanted $2,000 down for a down payment. And then I was going to take over the payments of it.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, no. And then, and it stayed in his name, so it's pretty much built his credit out, just paying the payments.
Yeah.
And, but I was like, all right. And then and he was like, well, let me think about it. I didn't give him no time to think about it. I sent him $2,000 and booked a flight back home. I didn't give him any time. I didn't give him no choice. I was like, you already mentioned it, so here we go. So, and he called me. He's like, hey, I said, give him, let me think about it. I was like, well, I already sent you $2,000, and Mom already booked me a flight. But I actually messed up because I sent him $2,000. On my bank account, I can only spend like $2,000 a day. So I sent him $2,000. I couldn't book a flight because I couldn't pay for it. Like, I had money, but my bank account wouldn't let
Yeah,
me.
you hit your spending limit for the
Yeah,
day.
so I was like, okay. So I called my mom. I was like, I need you to book me a flight from this airport to St. Louis, like McAllen Airport to St. Louis, and then back, or not back, but there, and then I'll drive back. And so this was on a Friday. So I had Saturday, Sunday, had to be work on Monday. So I'm like, okay. So I fly there. I get stuck in Dallas. My flight leaves late from McAllen. I have to go from McAllen to Dallas to St. Louis. I get stuck in Dallas. Last flight, we miss it to St. Louis. So I had to sit in Dallas airport all night. And I was like laid down, by the deal. I was like gonna try to sleep a second, but I could not because people were walking around and stuff. I was like, no.
It's hard to sleep in an airport.
So didn't sleep. So I worked that whole day. Flew. Didn't sleep that night because I was in Dallas airport. Get home to St. Louis. Who picked me up? But I think Blake and then picked me up. But I think Blake picked me up and then. Or maybe it was my mom. Mom or Blake picked me up, and then we went back to DuQuoin, got the truck, everything, and then went and ate lunch with Blake and all them.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you were there or not, but we all went to Don's.
I might have been.
Yeah, and then we all ate Don's, and then I left right then. Like, I didn't sleep or nothing.
Yeah.
So I take off, because it was 18 and a half hours back to Texas. So I freaking haven't slept at all in, like, a day and a half, 2 days, and then so I freaking
Go on your 18-hour venture.
Get back on the truck and just haul ass all the way back. Should not have made it back to Texas. I was on the way back to Texas. I'm like 3/4 of the way there, and I wake up, in the median with cruise control, son, 85. I'm just hauling balls through the median, passed out, and there's nobody in the interstate. This is like
You
4
lucked
in the
out.
morning. Yeah, 3-4 in the morning. There's nobody in the interstate. And I like wake up and I was like, oh shit. So I just like cranked the wheel back over and jumped back onto the interstate. And I was like, all right. So, and I had like 2.5 hours left. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right. So I called Kyle. He's our lead. And so I was like, dude, I'm not going to be able to make it. I was like, I'm close. I was like, but I told him I woke up in the meeting and everything. He's like, don't worry about it. So I pulled over in a truck stop. And I slept for like an hour and a half or two.
Yeah.
And just in the truck.
Little power nap.
Yeah, took a power nap and then just, forced myself the way through back to Texas. I got to the apartment and it was like just getting daylight. I was supposed to be at work in 10 minutes. And I was like, and Kyle was like, don't worry about it. So I was like, okay. So I just went upstairs. I slept for like that entire next day.
Yeah.
I was so tired, dude.
Catch up on some sleep.
Yeah, caught up on some sleep. Even that next day after that going to work.
You'd still be groggy.
It was terrible. And I was like, but I did. I went there. Got that truck. So now I have that truck, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to work. It's just like, so I'm going to work for like a month. I got this Chevy, decent, nice truck. So I've been driving it for like a month. And then I get a call from, was it the police station? I think the police station called me.
Yeah.
Or no, I think I called them. I called them to check and see if they had found anything about my truck. And they were like, no, something. I was like, okay. And then they called me back. Or no, the tow company called me. Like the same day that I just called the police station, the tow company calls me. It's like, hey, are you gonna come get your truck? And I was like, what do you mean? Am I gonna come get my truck? And he's like, he's like, is this Gavin Weeks? Like, yeah. And he's like, I've had your truck for like a month. He's like, but I need it out of my lot like now. And I was like, where is it? And he's like, the cops towed it. And us tow it to the tow yard here in Edinburgh. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I've already got a new truck. Everything. It's been like a month. This dude wants like $800 for a tow fee and like a storage fee for a month. He was pissed. And I was like,
is this one of the tow yards you called?
I don't know if I called that tow yard or not. Like, but
Police didn't say.
The cops towed it, and I asked them. I called them multiple times.
Fucking hell.
And asked them if they had any record towing. No record. They still had no record. So apparently, I'm like, I ain't paying shit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll call you back. So I call Edinburgh Police Department. I'm like, I need to talk to somebody in charge. I was like, because y'all fucked up.
Yeah, bad.
I was like, because y'all are going to have to pay some money to get my truck out of this tow yard. And I ain't paying shit. I was like, I didn't call and ask. I could have had it out that day.
Yeah, literally the next day you went.
Yeah.
I could
they're
like, nope.
Could have got it fixed and then just kept driving that truck.
Green Machine, never heard of it.
Yeah, so I was like, all right. So I go into the police station. They're like, all right, come in and, well, you can talk to somebody. So I go into the police station. I talk to the sheriff and then this other cop, which the other cop's apparently the one that towed it or got it towed. And didn't even write up a report. Nothing about it. He's like, oh, yeah, I towed it. I was like, idiot. I was like, how? Why didn't you didn't write up no reports? I've called you guys like 5 times.
Yeah.
And they were like, because they had a stolen vehicle report out for a vehicle they towed. Like, geniuses. But, so I told him, I was like, I'm not paying shit. And the sheriff's like, okay, and he's like, we'll see what we can do. And like, so I called the tow guy back, and he's like, I told him, I was like, look, I'm not paying nothing. He said that I told him what happened and everything. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, I need it out of my lot like today. He's like, how about I'll take care of it with the police station, but. He's like,
just get it.
He's like, give me $50 and I'll tow it to your apartment. And I was like, okay, bet. So I gave him $50. I get $50 out of the ATM. Dude tows it to my apartment, and it was pretty much just to pay for the guy like
driving.
Like that's all it was. So I gave dude the $50. He drops up in my driveway. Mind you, this thing does not fucking run.
Yeah.
So for the next however long I was there, I don't remember how long I was in Texas, but I was there for a while and. About a year or so.
Yeah,
and
at least.
So I was like, okay, so it's sitting in a parking spot for like the entire time I'm in Texas. And then obviously I had to get it back to here. So I was like, I almost just tried to like sell it to somebody or scrap it or something. But I was like, I'll just get a U-Haul trailer. Well, they didn't have any dollies like that would fit the truck apparently. So like they weren't wide enough. So I got a trailer. Well, the trailer wasn't wide enough either. So the side rails of the trailer, the tires were like splitting the side rails. So it was just sitting on top of the rails of the trailer. But I parked the trailer in the road, pushed the Green Machine in neutral down onto the road behind the trailer, chalked the trailer wheels, disconnected it from the truck, strapped the black truck to the Green Machine and pulled it up on the trailer while it's disconnected. And then backed the truck back up and hooked it back up to the trailer. And, I pulled a 1500 with a 1500 8.5 hours back to Southern Illinois, and the black truck was screaming the whole time.
Not happy.
It did not like it at all. It was like $3,000 the whole time. Like,
that's a.
It was pissed. Like, cost me a shitload of money in fuel, and it was pissed. I think that's part of the reason the transmission ended up going out in the black truck as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably a fair assessment.
But yeah, I mean, I ended up getting the Green Machine home, and then kind of just gave it back to my dad. But I got it back now, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Traded it for a haircut.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to be elaborated on.
Yeah, he was gonna sell it for like $2,500 or $2,000 or something, and he's wanting me to cut my hair because I had my mullet growed out. And he's like, "You need to cut your hair." I was like, "I'm not cutting it." He offered me $100, a new pair of muck boots, and to pay for the haircut. And I told him no. And he was like, "All right, well then one day we're sitting in the garage, and I was like, how much you selling the truck for?" He's like, $2,500 or whatever. I was like, "How much you gonna sell it to me for?" He's like, $2,500. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thanks," you know. And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "I'll cut my hair." And he's like, "Serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Keep it cut for a year. You got a deal." And I was like, "Bet." So we shook on it right there, and so I got.
Now you got the Green
truck.
Machine.
Yeah, but yeah, and then got rid of the black truck. Transmission went out in the black truck. Had to buy a new transmission. Cost me about $6,000. That was shitty, but it's brand new transmission, 100,000 mile warranty. So like,
that's the way to do it.
yeah, oh yeah, but yeah, I think the finishing touch off of it is, you know, you, on the shift column you can go down to manual.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving to Oklahoma, and I had the trailer on the back, and I guess when I shifted down to manual instead of the drive. And I pull out of this gas station, I like try to get up and go out of this gas station, and I fucking just whoop, and just in first gear, just fucking
Yeah.
pin it. And for an automatic transmission in manual, it's not even good to run them in that anyway. But I freaking pinned it in first gear for like a minute. So like, I was like, why the fuck is this thing? And I like let it go back down, and I took off again. It was like, whoa! So I was just revving it in first gear, hauling a trailer.
God. Yeah, you're giving it a little stress.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh shit! And I put it back into drive, and then I took off down the highway or the interstate. I didn't make it like 2 miles, and it was like just. Transmission just shut off. He was shut down. He was done.
I mean, yeah, that'll happen if you just have it in first for however long you did.
Yeah, so it was like pretty much all the way through that town. But so I turned the truck back on. It turned back on, and then it would let me drive, but it only let me drive like 10 mile an hour.
Fuck.
So I was like, son of a bitch. So I drive all the way down to the next exit, it's like Miami, Oklahoma, or something like that.
Miami, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I ain't even heard of it.
Yeah, but some little town. But they had a Chevy dealership.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, bet. So I pulled in there. I had to leave my trailer that had my bike in it and everything. I had to leave my truck, my trailer, everything in my trailer, all at the dealership. And Grace luckily was following me in her car. So I left the truck and everything there. Dude, that's the fastest dealership like job I've ever seen done. Like, they called me the next day at work, and it was done.
New transmission in.
New transmission. They didn't even have one in stock. They got one shipped there that night.
That's wild.
Got one shipped there that night. Dude, he called me that night, and dude already had the transmission out that night that I dropped it off. Took transmission out, and he was like, yeah, there's fucking grass, metal shavings, and all kinds of shit in here. He's like, it's fucked. And I was like, all right. I was like, so then he's like, $6,000. I was like, okay. And my dad split the transmission with me, so I was like, all right, that's dope. So it only cost me $3,000. And then so get the new transmission and everything. The next day, like lunch, he calls me and he's like, hey, truck's done. It's like, fuck. I was like, I was kind of hoping
Props
it took.
to that dealership.
Yeah, but I was kind of hoping it took a week or two so I get a paycheck or two.
Yeah.
For this $3,000. But I was like, all right. I was like, it's gonna be, because I told him it's gonna be like a week till like next weekend where I go pick it up. And he's like, oh, that's fine. He's like, but yeah, so I had to go back there, get my trailer, my truck, my everything.
Yeah.
Go back to Oklahoma. But
now, does your dad still have that truck?
no, I traded that truck in on the Dodge.
Yeah.
I bought the Eco Diesel, the 2016 Eco Diesel.
That thing's been a unit.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good truck. I want to buy. Eventually, I'm gonna buy the turbo kit for it and delete it and everything.
Make it wild.
Yeah, they're decent. They had a decent for the 3-liter for a 3-liter fucking diesel, it makes a decent amount of power for that truck.
Before I found the 2.3 liter turbo for the Ranger, and that motor actually came out of a 1985 Thunderbird turbo coupe, and I was actually looking at the like 1.6 liters, the EcoBoost that come out of the Fiestas.
Yeah.
Because I was looking online, and you can buy like used one of those motors with like 30,000 miles for like $700.
Yeah.
And you can throw a Miata transmission behind it, and it'll bolt up perfect.
Yeah, I think Mitsubishi makes the motor for the EcoDiesel.
Word?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. It's not the Cummins for sure, but it's...
But I know I really wanted to do that until I found that deal. Because I knew they made those motors because they were in the SVO Mustangs, the Turbo T-Birds. And it's just, since they're so old, and they didn't really make too many of them. Like, yeah, they made a lot of them, but now it's hard to find them in good shape. So I kind of got a steal right there.
Yeah, that's... I would love to swap the grain machine with something.
Well, hell, you can...
But the thing is, have you seen the engine bay size of the grain machine?
Isn't it tiny?
No, it's the same size like the second-gen Cummins.
I mean, yeah, I guess the body isn't really any different.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, you can put a full-size Cummins motor in that little ass truck. like, it's gonna be front heavy as a bitch, like, for sure.
Throw some sandbags in the back.
Yeah, it's like bricks or something, logs. But, yeah, that thing would be nasty. Or, I either thought about that, or...
Well, you could probably find a 12-valve on Marketplace for cheap, or
like a wrecked truck or something.
Pick apart.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. And the thing with those is that they're pretty easy to swap. I mean, hell, Gabe literally put in, what was it, a motor and a trans? Or did he just swap the trans?
I'm not for sure.
But he did it in like a day.
Yeah, I think he swapped the trans.
Yeah, swapped it from a auto to a manual.
That's the thing too. Is that Gabe knows 12 valves and shit.
Yeah.
Back and forward, upside down. You know what I mean? Like,
I could tell you a lot about a Ford 302.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. I can tell you a lot about nothing really.
Yeah.
To do with vehicles. That's why I'm like, well, I'd like to do it, but like, I don't know how to do it at all. I don't know the first thing to do. Like,
YouTube.
Yeah.
And forums.
Yeah.
And secondhand knowledge from other people.
Yeah.
Just listening in has been my best friend.
Yeah.
In
it's like
working on this, on the Stang at least.
I don't know. I think it would be a machine. And there's other stuff I could swap it with too, like not do it Cummins, but do like just anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you could essentially swap it with whatever, but.
I mean, that's anything, really.
Yeah.
Hell, you know how many people fucking LS swap Fox bodies?
Yeah.
Ignorant amount.
Okay, LS swap the fucking grain machine.
Get yourself a 5.3 out of a junkyard, throw a turbo kit on it.
Mm-hmm.
Make 800 horsepower, blow it up, buy another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's 5. I think it's probably a good time to...
You go play Call of Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright.
So, I think I had a fun time. We talked cars, we talked stories.
Yep.
I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
Me too, no problem. You got social media, anything you want to say? Shout out? No?
Yes. Not really.
Good for you. Stay off social media.
I mean, I have social media.
Yeah.
Keenan Johnston. I mean,
yeah.
Oh well.
On everything.
Literally. Other than that, I just do my own thing, man.
Yep. All right. Well, you have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate you.
All right. See you. See everybody.